What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video. And today I'm doing my preview and maybe a little bit of predictions for the 2023 New York Pro. We have a ton of updates for you guys from all the top competitors, who's competing, plus much more. Also, you can't even see the full lineup there because I've got this screen on the wrong sort of setting, but you can see it there. There is the lineups that we have so far for the 2023 New York Pro in the Open and in the 212. You guys can let me know in the comments if you have any more names to add to that list, but we have a pretty decent lineup, and I have also put there as well Calros Thomas Jr., who is now out of the 2023 New York Pro, which is definitely disappointing for fans. And we was hoping to see maybe a few more names in here, but honestly, this lineup is looking to be pretty good. I'll read it out to you guys before we get to all the physique updates from literally almost all these competitors as well. So we've got in the Open, Max Charles, Eric Wood, who I have an interview going up with him very, very soon on Desktop Bodybuilding. He's a 27-year-old new pro who's making his pro debut at this contest, who is very, very impressive, a Patrick Tour client. We've got Tonio Burton as well, who's definitely going in as one of the favourites, a 212 and Open Mr. Olympia competitor. Calros Thomas Jr. obviously out, as I mentioned. Joe Seaman from Canada. Stuart Sutherland, I have an interview with him going up as well very, very soon on Desktop Bodybuilding. I think you guys will love that one. You got Nate Spear, Brent Swanson, Robin Strand, Walter Debs. We also have Joseph Keft. We have Kianwoo Park and Marius Tomzuk. And then in the 212s, we have Kerith Bajjo, we've got Nate Telow, Zhang Xiang Yep, and Mark Lobliner. So let me know what you think of those lineups. So let's get to some of these updates for you guys. I'm going to kick it off with Calros Thomas Jr. I'll just make that a little bit bigger for you guys. So he posted up this. I messaged him as well about doing an interview, and he broke the news to me literally when I messaged him. He posted this up pretty much at the same time. And I'll read it out to you guys now, at least a little bit of it. He says, "Hey everyone, I wanted to take a moment to address the fact that I won't be participating in the upcoming New York Pro Show. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with some severe issues related to my ulcerative colitis that has made it impossible for my body to respond in the way I need it to in order to compete." Now, I actually have a former partner that has ulcerative colitis as well, and she held fluid, which she didn't even know about. Because, you know, the average person probably wouldn't know if they're holding fluid unless they're getting contest lean. And once she sort of sorted her issues, she's dropped a ton of that fluid. So what's up, the Red Loop? Shout out to you, and shout out to any of you guys getting in the comments. Let me know your opinions on all of this as well. So ulcerative colitis can play havoc with your body. It's basically when you developed ulcers in your colon. They can burst, you can bleed. People have different symptoms where some people will need to go to the toilet all the time. Some people, you know, it's the opposite where they get constipated, but most of them have that issue with going to the toilet constantly and having those sorts of issues. So, and that's not only the only issue because of it. It's obviously very dangerous. I believe John Meadows had that, and a whole bunch of other people. I don't know if it's a common thing in bodybuilding more so than anything else, but unfortunately, that's what Calros Thomas Jr. is dealing with. He says, as disappointed as I am that I won't be able to show off all the hard work I've put in, I'm optimistic about the future. I'm taking time to focus on my health and well-being, and I'm confident that with this treatment plan we have in place, I'm heading in the right direction, and I'm feeling much better. I'm already looking forward to a later show date, and I can't wait to step on that stage and show the world what I'm capable of. In the meantime, I'm going to keep working hard, staying positive, and taking care of myself. And he says, thank you to Bev's Gym, Big Steve, and everyone for all your support and understanding. I genuinely appreciate it. I will still be attending New York Pro and so on, so you can meet all you fans that are going out to that contest. So Calros seems like one of the good guys of the sport, and I think everyone's just really eagerly anticipating his pro debut. And shout out to the Red Loop getting your predictions in as well. If you are watching live or on replay, give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe, and we have a ton of updates to get to here. So this one might be slightly longer than normal, but I think you guys will definitely enjoy it. And there's the lineup if you guys are tuning in live right now. But let's get back to these updates. The next one is on Robin Strand. You guys might be saying who? Because he's competed as a pro before, but hasn't really hit his mark. But it seems like this time, working with Dorian Hamilton of HD Muscle and Pure Muscle up there in Canada, he's looking damn good. This was posted up by Suliose, who's awesome on Instagram. I encourage you guys follow him, post a ton of updates. And I looked at this photo, I was like, does Robin have a torn bicep? But his other bicep sort of looks the same. He's got two incredibly peaky biceps. Whether he has a torn bicep or not, I don't know. Small waist. I mean, that pose, really, you look at it, it's pretty damn phenomenal. That pose, it's also pretty damn phenomenal. This is from 3 weeks out too, guys. This pose is looking pretty damn phenomenal, but we've got another update as well from that one. Side chest, pretty damn good. The legs are looking better from the side. I think that can improve a little bit. But look at this. This also posted by Sully Ose. And look at the conditioning. The hammies, the glutes have come in. The back is looking way more complete than it's looked in the past, in my opinion. Maybe it's just the extra conditioning. But I think Robin Strand is one to watch in this lineup. And I would not be surprised if he knocks off a few good names. Justin, shout out, my man. Xavier is a god. Thank you. Appreciate it. But hopefully, with all this New York Pro coverage, you guys will think that even more so. And you can see here Sergio Oliva Jr. getting in there and supporting, saying anyone saying this was going to be a weak show doesn't know shit about bodybuilding. So excited for Dorian. Obviously meaning Dorian Hamilton. So Robin Strand is definitely one to watch out for here. Now, Joseph Keft. Keft. We're going to say Keft. You can see here in his latest update, this one here is 17 days out of the New York Pro, looking dry, looking hard. We saw him in that last show, which was the Arnold Classic South America in Brazil. He actually beat out Vitor Both, who was one of the favorites going into that show. I think he placed 4th maybe. Big dude, tall dude. He seems like he's actually filling out more and getting harder. So could this guy be a contender in this show potentially? I mean, he's got a lot of muscle. He seems pretty tall anyway, but maybe just not quite enough to match it with the top guys in this lineup, like Stuart Sutherland, like Tonio Burton. But I think he's going to be right there in that top 5, in my opinion. Where he is exactly, I do not know. But Joseph looking damn good. Now, Eric Wood, I just interviewed this guy the other day. I've got some posing footage of him. That's his 5-year transformation, 50 pounds, which we discussed in the latest one-on-one, which is going to go up on Desktop Bodybuilding. But here's some footage of him. Hopefully there's no audio. He's in outstanding condition. This was posted up by Patrick too. I don't know if there's any video filters on this or anything, but the conditioning looks absolutely outrageous. And I mean, maybe he won't have the leg mass, you know what I mean, to match up. Like he's not filling out those legs quite as much from the back. But the amount of muscle this guy's added, he's got a really aesthetic physique. He's got the gnarly conditioning like a guy in his 30s. So this could definitely be a dangerous package. I don't know where he fits in. That's my honest opinion, because we need to see him standing side by side with these other guys. Is the conditioning going to match up to the same level as these videos? Because he is looking absolutely shredded in these recent videos. And I think there's even a few more up on his Instagram since this one as well, since I actually pulled this. So shout out to Eric Wood, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he looks like once he hits that pro stage for the first time. Now, Mike Lucy, an Australian bodybuilder who actually just turned pro, when was it, like a week or two ago? Like a couple of weeks maybe? This is him 12 days out of the New York Pro. He's one of these guys that he's not going to have the most aesthetic physique, but he's got conditioning. He's a hard worker by the looks of it. He's actually coached by Dean McKillop, I believe, as well. And he's a phenomenal coach here in Australia. And Mike is looking pretty damn good. I don't think this front lat spread does him justice exactly. I think from a back, it might be tough for Mike, being in, going from an amateur lineup to a pro lineup. But you've got to give this guy credit. He's come in condition. He signed that contract for the 2023 New York Pro. So shout out to Mike for jumping straight in and seeing where he's at in terms of being a pro. And I think that this will give him a great idea of where he is at right now. Now, Tonio Burton, this guy is looking so crazy. And see these updates here. We've got video of all of these. Not the full video, but I've actually got the photos up close sent to me by his coach, Classic Blum, as he's known on Instagram. I think, yeah, he said Classic Blum. I don't know if it's Bloom or Blum, but I talk to the dude all the time, so I probably should know that. But I'll show you these updates a little bit closer for you so you can see what's going on. So let's add that to the stream. So you can see Tonio, he's looking very, very good. You got to remember as well, this guy actually beat Justin Rodriguez last year in a show. He could have beaten other bodybuilders as well with how good he looked. He is super dense, super round, just super impressive overall, and brings great conditioning. Now, the one area I've mentioned is pretty much from the waist down, the conditioning. So if he can get his glutes and hams in, it's going to be very, very impressive. And I've actually seen some more photos than this as well. Some more depleted photos, maybe you'd say, but where the glutes and hams actually look to be more dialed in than this. So this is from a few days back. So, I mean, this is probably 2 weeks out, I'd say. these photos, and he's looking sharper again from this. So Tonio Burton is going to be a contender in this show regardless. I can't see him being outside the top 2 no matter what, and he may well be my pick to actually win this one as well. Appreciate you guys getting in the comments. Rich B says Eric Wood looks fantastic. Absolutely he does. The Red Loop, Joseph the Viking, sorry. And Rich B also says, also Nate Spear and Brenton Swanson are both in shape. Absolutely. And I've got some updates from them as well. So make sure you stay tuned for the rest of this video. Yeah, the Red Loop, Eric is super wide and dense across the chest and delts. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where he fits into this lineup. But will he be able to beat a guy of the likes of Tonio Burton? I'm not quite so sure yet, but he's going to make an impressive pro debut no matter what. So let's get back to a few of these other guys' updates. So next we have Stuart Sutherland, the man. I just interviewed this guy yesterday, I believe it was. I'm losing track of days. I've been a little bit sick lately, which has been why I've been MIA. But you can see here, Stuart Sutherland, look at the lats. Someone made this comment somewhere, genuinely Yates-esque in the lats. You look at that density and the way they pop out, they just look dense. It looks like this guy trains hard. And when I actually interviewed him as well, he mentions his training style. It's, you know, that sort of lower volume, higher intensity type training, and it shows on his physique, and it seems to be working very, very well. So I've got more updates from Beef Stew, Stuart Sutherland, or Beef Stew as he's known on Instagram, in my latest one-on-one, which is going up. So I'm going to have one up from Eric Wood and then one up from Stuart Sutherland very soon after. Now, our next update from Joe Seaman, the funnest name in bodybuilding. He's looking pretty damn good. The only question I have on Joe Seaman in this package, in terms of muscularity, he is very, very big. Very, very impressive. He seems like he's made improvements to his physique from last year. 278 pounds at 11 days out. The only thing I'm concerned about is conditioning. He has promised in other posts that he is bringing it. And, you know, you look at the side quad, there's glutes there. I just want to see a bit more detail in that upper body, and I want to see him be able to, you know, maybe drying out that process will change things for him a bit. I just want to see more conditioning because he's going to be against some guys that are pretty conditioned. But from the back, you know, you see the hamstrings are there. There's just that bit of something over the top that, to me, if he was 3 weeks out, I'd be very encouraged by these photos. Just 11 days out just makes me go, oh, will it be quite enough? I hope Joe Seaman absolutely proves me wrong. Not that I'm doubting him really, to be honest, because I don't know. I've seen Dennis Wolf 1 week out come in look crazy at a New York Pro when he's 1 week out, and he looked 6 weeks out. So we don't know how, I don't know exactly how he peaks, but looking forward to seeing the end product from Joe Seaman to see if he can really bring this in nice and sharp, because there's a lot of muscle on that physique. Now, Marius Tomzuk, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going with. This is Marius, I believe, from last year, I think it was. Yeah, 48 weeks ago this was posted. He was damn impressive. I don't want to say it for sure, but I believe it was his debut season in the IFBB Pro League, and he brought conditioning. And that's what a guy like this needs to do, because he's going to be outsized a little bit from some angles. But honestly, he's got a pretty damn aesthetic physique. Like, actually, I'm a pretty decent fan of this guy. It's just he needs more muscle overall to match it with the big boys. But if he's been able to bring up his physique a bit, then this sort of package can definitely do well. This was from a Toronto Pro Show last year, I think it was. And let's have a look to see if we're seeing anything recent from Marius Tomzuk. 15 days out of a New York Pro. And to me, it still looks like he needs size overall. That's probably going to be his downfall in this lineup, in my opinion. But conditioning is there. Just basically needs another, sounds harsh, 10 pounds on his physique to be matching it with the big boys, I think. Brent Swanson, this guy is a conditioning king. Now, this one might be filtered a little bit by the looks of the actual photo, but regardless, this guy never seems to not, you know, he never fails to bring conditioning. It's always right there. And I'll just make sure this is playing on the screen for you guys. Yes, it is. Let me just get back to it. And you can see here, 0 pump, flat, right out of bed, check-ins 14 days out. And if any of you guys have competed and have been 14 days out and jumped out of bed and taken photos, you feel incredibly flat. Like you feel very, very small. So I think everyone just sort of judges it as if like the in the gym pumped up photos are the same as these ones. They are not. They're never going to look close to the same, in my opinion. So he looks, you know, I look at this photo and go, oh, he's a bit flat here. A little bit concerned, but really, had he had a ton of carbs, gone to the gym and pumped up, I'd be saying a very different thing. So I think you need to be flat to actually to come in condition, obviously, at stages of a prep. And the fact that this is 14 days straight out of bed, pretty encouraged. And I think Brenton Swanson is going to bring a good package to that New York Pro, because you see it in the gym shot here 2 weeks out. It's a different story. It was a different level of fullness, muscularity. And yeah, Brent always brings it. When you look at his, like going up and down here, he's a dude that is always in condition. Operation Hospital Pilled engaged. Yeah, so Brent Swanson, great competitor. Now, Nate Spear, I've actually been meaning to get Nate on the channel, but obviously, as I mentioned, been a little bit sick lately and whatnot. But this is 11 days out of the New York Pro at 253 pounds. And he's a guy that goes under the radar a little bit, but he's bringing a better package each year. So Nate's got to be pretty happy with how he's looking right now. The front double bicep is an impressive one. It's sort of a throwback sort of physique. Love the rib cage, and he reminds me of someone. I don't know if you guys know off the top of your head who he reminds you of, but I mean, it's a pretty nice physique overall. I'm pretty impressed with how Nate Spear's looking in this one, and I think he's made solid improvements. And I thought he was a guy that was maybe not going to make the leaps that he's made, but he's making some pretty solid leaps. So, whoops, let me go back to that and go through a few photos. Most muscular, his hands together looks really, really good. So front double and hands together. Also, ab and thigh is really good. That midsection is on point. Like, that is looking really, really good. The more I see Nate and the more he grows, the more aesthetic he seems to get. So as long as he can bring this in a little bit sharper in the legs here, come in just that tiny bit more, and he is, I mean, he looks pretty sharp here, but he's going to be some sort of a factor in here depending on how the guys show up. So very, very excited for Nate. And I might have missed some guys out of this lineup who I wanted to talk about. I'm not too sure. They're the main guys. There's a few guys that I didn't put on here as well, just because I maybe don't think they'll be quite as much of a factor or a potential factor as these guys that I'm mentioning. Now let's move on to the 212, and one guy that I think is definitely going to be a favorite for this one, and it's Kerith Bajjo. So he has been looking absolutely crazy in his recent physique updates. I saw this one go up yesterday. The level of density is increasing week by week. Very, very impressive. A strong spirit. That's obviously his coach. That's his name on Instagram, Justin. And here we are here. The goal is to be better in every way. Lots of lessons to be learned from the disciplines of bodybuilding. He goes on for a little bit there, but you can see the level of conditioning here. Whether that's filtered or not, Kerith always brings conditioning, and I think he's going to be no exception here. And I know Kerith isn't super, super young, so I don't know if he's a Masters Olympia type age, but if I was him, I'd maybe be looking at that show as well. But look at these shots. His midsection has actually seemed to get tighter, which looks awesome. So this most muscular with his hands quite far apart. I don't normally love this on a lot of guys, but it actually looks damn good on him. Maybe if you could bring it in a tiny bit more, but it really shows off that tiny waist. So if he can do that, and this is what I'm encouraged Tonio Burton to do, is really concentrate on that midsection and pull it right up when he hits that most muscular. And if he's able to do that in the open, he's going to be very, very good. But Kerith is going to be damn hard to beat in this lineup, in my opinion. There's him and his coach, Justin, as well. But next guy we're talking about, and this is Mil Sarchev's client. What's his name? Oh, his name is the Mass 212 on here. Let me pull up the competitor list that I've got. It is Zhang Xiang Yup. So Zhang Xiang Yup is looking super good in terms of roundness, in terms of muscle bellies, and had this physique looked super conditioned here, this is 2 weeks out, posted 4 days ago, I'd be saying this is maybe the guy to beat. I mean, it's hard. Kerith is very, very good. It even says here, conditioning, conditioning, conditioning. That's obviously what he's aiming for. Let's see if it says the same thing in the translation. Oh, feels like I'm waiting for a discharge date. Interesting. But when you look at him, let's have a look at this. This posing video might not go smooth for you guys. Sorry, I should have probably downloaded this. The conditioning, 11 days out, to me, it's just not there enough, but the structure and the shape is absolutely phenomenal. Oh, it looks like the lights went out. It did. But, yeah, I just don't think that's good enough conditioning. For me, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments, and I wish it was, because I'd love to see a really tight top 2 battle there. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below on that. Our next update is from Nate Telow, the owner of Gym Hub. I thought he had updates here. Let me have a look. Oh, maybe he hasn't. Maybe I'll post it to his story. Apologies, guys. See if there's anything on Nate's story, because I want to feature him because he's a good dude. And here we go. 1.5 weeks out. The conditioning's really good. His quads actually have a really unique shape. It's almost like they come up on the outer sweep there and they sort of start really heavily down the bottom there and then go up, and it sort of straightens his quads out a little bit. It's almost a little bit like Nate Spears in a way, but it just comes up a little bit more where it looks like maybe it's been torn. But I don't believe that's the case. I mean, Nate can obviously correct me. This is not the best angle photo of him too. It's from the top, which probably wasn't taken by Jose Raymond, I'm not guessing, unless he's holding it above his head. Sorry, Jose. But he looks in really good shape. I think he's going to bring a good package. I think he's going to fill out. And I don't think this is a photo that actually does Nate justice, to be honest, because I saw some other photos where he looked really, really good. There's a whole bunch of them in one shot. Sorry, Nate. Oh, yeah, I can't find them, unfortunately. But hopefully he posts them up and we can see them, unless he's been posting tons of photos. See Nate here, he's actually got a pretty nice shape. This is 6 weeks ago, so he's seems like he's growing into the show as well. And I believe this is Nate's pro debut as well. Here we go, here's another better shot, 9 weeks out. You can see a little bit more. He's getting that thickness, and I think that he can improve on what he's going to bring to the stage as well this time around. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like. And he's been going back and forth with Mark Lobliner, who's making his pro debut as well, 10 days out. So for those who know Mark Lobliner from back in the day, he's been a guy that was involved with, he was with MTS Nutrition. He was promoting Slivations Extend back in the early days. And he's sort of been around bodybuilding, but from back in the bodybuilding.com days where people were on the forums. So he's been around the industry for a long time, and he's actually natural for a long time. And very much assuming he's not here because his physique, it doesn't look like that of a natural bodybuilder, but you can fill me in if it is, Mark. But yeah, they've been going back and forth, and it's been sort of a fun mouthing off battle between these two guys, and it's been enjoyable to follow along. But I don't know if Mark will have what it takes to win like a 212 lineup or anything like that. So I'll give you guys a little bit of my prediction shortly. I'll go back and pull up the lineup once again for you guys, and you can let me know what you think. I'll make that so you guys can see that properly. So in the open, this one's tough. I didn't feature any updates from Max Charles, but obviously a Mr. Olympia competitor. And I will get to your guys' comments soon. So if you do have any questions or any competitors that I've missed out, just let me know along the way. So in the open, okay, this is going to be my early predictions, and I have the ability to change these because I'm really on the fence between a few of these names, because there are good names, especially right at the top, like Stuart Sutherland and not Calros Thomas Jr, sorry, and Tonio Burton. Those two, for me, are going to be the top two. So in first, I'm going to put Tonio Burton. If Tonio comes in with soft hams and glutes, or not soft, but if they're just a bit watery, a bit off, but it leaves the door open for Stuart Sutherland, who I think will come in pretty razor sharp, has a huge amount of thickness, and I think that will potentially put Stuart over the top, because we saw him against Hunter Labrada and he looked damn good. Now, there's a lot of unknowns in this lineup, and honestly, Stuart Sutherland is one of them. I don't know what level he will be at, but I think he's a top 2 guy. So in first, I'm saying Tonio Burton. In second, I'm saying Stuart Sutherland. In third, I'm saying, who have we got? We've got Robin Strand, who looks absolutely phenomenal. Eric Wood. I'm going to say Robin Strand in third. I think that his physique is maybe a little bit more complete than Eric Wood's. But Eric Wood, if he brings in razor sharp conditioning and out-conditions Robin, then that can definitely change. But I'm going to say Robin Strand in third. And to be honest, I'm forgetting about Joseph Keft. I'm going to stick with Robert Strand in third. I'm going to say Joseph Keft in fourth, which would be a fourth place finish for him. And then in fifth, I'm going to say Eric Wood. And in sixth, I'm going to say Max Charles. And I feel like I'm completely disrespecting Joe Seaman, Nate Spear, Brett Swanson. There's a whole bunch of names, and it goes pretty deep. And a lot of these guys can make it up and actually place much higher than I've predicted them as well. And I will get to your guys' comments now. So if you have any questions, want to be featured on the channel, comment right now. What have we got? Thank you, Red Loop. Those were my predictions, at least so far. So they're open to being changed. And also, there's not only 4 212 guys. That's just all I've actually heard of. And there's normally more talk around the open. So I'm sure there'll be more 212 guys added to this, no doubt. It's not an official list or anything like that. It's just what I've found so far, basically. So what have you got, Red Loop? Stu, Eric, and Nate all have amazing ab and thighs. Rare but welcome. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ab and thigh is coming back. I think with the whole emphasis on the vacuum, tight midsection, aesthetic physiques, we're seeing more better, I was going to say. We're seeing better ab and thigh poses. When you look at a guy like Andrew Jack, who I think literally probably has the best ab and thigh of all time. Now, that's a huge call, but I love Andrew Jack's ab and thigh. And people say I'm an Andrew Jack hater. I think he has one of the best front double biceps and one of the best ab and thighs of all time. Straight up. It's just some of the other poses let him down a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, Rich B saying easy win to Kerith. Yeah, I'm not sure who else is showing up. That's the only issue there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in live. And if you are watching on replay as well, shout out to you guys. Lots of cool updates. And I'll feature one up on the screen for you guys now to wrap up this video from the guy I'm picking to win this contest, if he wants to come up on the screen, Tonio Burton. But that might change. I'm a big rap on Stuart Sutherland as well. I've got an interview from him going up and from Eric Wood, so make sure you tune into Desktop Bodybuilding, like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on those interviews and all my 2023 New York Pro coverage as well. Subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and that's it from myself, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this 2023 New York Pro update with competitors, plus much more. For myself, Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.